This is my AI Rewind for 2023 video. Here I quickly look at all the AI developments in 2023. To start off, the highlight for me would be the release of GPT-4. Okay, so this LLM kind of performed way much better than, and it is still the best performing LLM among all the large language models on various tasks. So this is from OpenAI. Towards the end of the year, Google did release Gemini, and they claim that Gemini Ultra, their largest model, actually performs much better than GPT-4 on certain tasks. There are some caveats over here, so this is also an exciting development. You also had Claude 2 coming from Anthropic, which is also a very good model, and you also had Bard. Okay, so this year, Bard was integrated with, say, Google Search. Bard was available to the general audience for interaction like ChatGPT. You also had GPT-4 being integrated in ChatGPT, right? GPT-4 being integrated into Bing as well, Microsoft Bing. So these were some of the exciting developments in the closed source models, okay, in large language models, right? And then you had large language models like Llama 2, which was more open source, right? And from Llama, you had models like Falcon 180 billion, which was supposed to be better than even Llama 2. And then you also had some interesting smaller models which came in the later part of the year, like Mistral, and even the newer Mistral mixture of experts model, right? And from Mistral, you have models like Zephyr. Now these smaller models also were well performing on certain tasks, right? So this opened up the space to a lot of people. Basically, this Llama release from Meta opened up the field for open source to open source developers to develop their own large language models by either fine tuning Llama 2 or further tuning Llama 2 on newer data sets, right? So this Llama 2 was a landmark release, and it was good that Meta kind of open sourced it, even though there is an associated license with it, but still, Llama 2 led to huge developments in the open source space, right? So there were these models like Zephyr, 7B Beta, and Mistral, which came up and which kind of created a lot of noise, and they are quite useful as well for various tasks. You also had models like Microsoft Phi 2, which were small language models, but they used an approach called textbook based data for fine tuning this particular model, and this model also was quite good, right? So this was the year of large language models and generative AI, and these are some of the highlights among the large language models for me. Now, other than this, you had these libraries like Llama Index and the LangChain powering retrieval augmented generation applications and agents, right? You had Microsoft's, Microsoft had this product called AutoGen, for agents, right? For creating agents and things like that. So a lot of those things also are picked up, in this year, right? So this was the large language model space. Now, if you move to multimodal models, okay, so this year also saw the development of lot of multimodal large multimodal models, like your GPT-4 with vision, right? And even Gemini is also multimodal, natively multimodal trained. GPT-4 with vision, your GPT-4V was an excellent model which could actually produce different kinds of outputs. It could understand images, right? You had other models like multimodal models are those models which can have input and output of different modalities. Example, text to image, image to text. Inputs are multimodal. System can process both text and images. Outputs are also multimodal. Okay, so there were models like your Gemini, or your models like GPT-4V. There are other models like Google's Palm, right? Palmy and those kind of models came this year. Salesforce Blip, DeepMind's Flamingo, Microsoft Cosmos 2. Right, those were some of the models which were released these years, and these models started showing very good performance. Example like for Blip 2, Lava were very good for multimodal tasks. Okay, so these were some of the multimodal large models which were released this year and which were quite excellent. Okay. Then if you look at computer vision as such, a Meta AI segment anything model was very good. It was very good in segmentation tasks and other tasks, right? And from Meta AI SAM, there were a lot of newer models coming like faster SAM and other kind of models. So this was also kind of a landmark development in the field of computer vision. Meta AI segment anything model, where you can actually segment images by prompting it, right? So this was an interesting development, I would say. Then you had DALL-E from OpenAI. DALL-E is DALL-E 3 basically, which is the most advanced version where you could generate images from text. Okay, so this was again a very much improved model. Okay, from the earlier DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 1. You had competitors like your Stable Diffusion XL, which was released, Stable Diffusion XL Turbo, which was released this year. Even Midjourney, there was a model, your Midjourney, there was this V5 version which is being released. So these are all in the image spaces. Okay, Stable Diffusion XL, Midjourney. You also had video models being released by Runway Research. So they had their Runway ML Gen 2, which was for multimodal AI that can generate novel videos with text, images, or video clips. So this was another interesting development in the space of multimodal models. Okay, image, video, right? Those kind of models. This year was also the year of rise of vector databases, right? For your RAG-based, retrieval augmentation-based tasks and other tasks. So there was this increased focus on vector embeddings and this thing, and some of the interesting top options were like Quadrant, VV8, Chroma, Pinecone, right? These were some of the database vendors, who had interesting releases this year in the vector database space. Even something like Postgres also has a PG vector, their own vector database. Almost everybody was releasing vector databases this year, and they were being used left, right, center. Okay, so there were huge developments in that space as well in terms of vector databases, right? Now if you look at the other side of things, where we talk about your agents and other things, here you have this Microsoft AutoGen, which can build LLM applications via multiple agents. And this was also the year where we had interesting concepts like LoRa, PEFT, parameter efficient fine tuning techniques, with which you could actually, and quantized models, right? So you had QLoRa and these kind of methods coming up, with which you could actually fine tune larger models on lesser hardware, with lesser hardware basically, right? And with LoRa you need not train the entire model, entire large language model, but it introduced the concept of adapters, whereby your feed forward layers can be replaced by LoRa layers. Okay, and this could actually improve the fine tuning speeds, as well as make parameter efficient fine tuning models, right? So you need not, if you have a 7 billion parameter model, you need not when you are fine tuning, you need not fine tune all the 7 billion parameters. You just need to fine tune some set of LoRa layers. That was the idea. Okay, so that was this thing. And LoRa does not add any inference latency, because adapter weights can be merged with the base model. Performance of models fine tuning using LoRa is comparable to performance of fully fine tuned models, right? So original pre-trained weights are kept frozen. You can have multiple lightweight portable LoRa models for various downstream tasks, because only the adapters are trained. Okay, so that was the idea over here. So you had LoRa, QLoRa, these kind of techniques which came up this year. You also had packages like AutoTrain, which were making your LLM fine tuning much more simpler, right? You could just fine tune models within few lines. If you have a data set, you can just train models within few lines. Okay, so this was the year of huge developments in the field of AI, specifically generative AI. The release of these various large language models from different different vendors, open source models were released. So next year I am looking forward for more multimodal models to be released, and multimodal models improving their performance across various tasks. Probably a GPT-5, probably a Claude 3, maybe the next versions of Gemini, right? Maybe some newer entrants like Mistral coming up with even more powerful models. There are other models also which I didn't mention over here, like Deci startup had their 7 billion parameter model released. So I expect more and more competition in this space, more open source models to come up, maybe a Meta Llama 3, right? So it's going to be an exciting year next year in terms of AI development, and I would see more and more maturity in terms of these LLMs being released. Maybe even smaller powerful models like 5.3 or some other techniques will come up. Okay, I forgot to mention another thing over here. Newer architectures like your Mamba may also come up, right? Mamba transformer alternative, right? So this might also come up. This might pick up next year. Okay, this is something called as linear time sequence modeling with selective state spaces. This is supposed to be much more powerful than your transformers, and they have faster inference, 5x higher throughput than transformers, right? So what they are saying is that the language model, Mamba 3 billion model, outperforms transformers of the same size and matches transformers twice in size, both in pre-training and downstreaming evaluation. So maybe the newer architectures will come which would replace transformer architectures. So let's hope that we have more developments coming up in this field, and I will continue to make more videos on the latest technologies, and I would possibly want to make more videos on fine-tuning of LLMs, more videos on vector databases, more videos on RAG-based retrievals, how to put LLMs into production. So let's see how it goes. I hope this video is useful to you. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting the links to all these models and other things which I have discussed in the video in the description of the video. You can check them out. See you in another video. Stay tuned to the channel.